Valley, the Valley of Gold, encompasses a rich heritage that has shaped our modern, vibrant community. The town is centered along the Cañada del Oro drainage that flows from the lofty Santa Catalina Mountains. These mountains form the outstanding scenic backdrop to Oro Valley, one that has been an important landmark for centuries. For more than 1,000 years, prehistoric people called Hohokam by archaeologists lived along the Cañada and its tributary drainages. The remains of 3 of their large villages exist today in the Oro Valley area. The Honey Bee Village, located above Honey Bee Wash near the Rancho Vistoso neighborhood and the Splendido retirement community, was occupied between AD 500 and AD 1200. Its residents built hundreds of houses in pits and a ball court for community gatherings. A portion of this village is preserved for public use and historical interpretation by Pima County. The Romero Ruin in Catalina State Park also contains pit houses, 2 ball courts, and extensive agricultural fields. Smaller hunting and gathering camps and an impressive series of petroglyphs carved into basalt boulders surround this village. Another Hohokam village, known as Sleeping Snake, was excavated to make way for a golf course and residential development in Stone Canyon at the base of the Tortolita Mountains. The Hohokam knew their environment well. They gathered native plants and cultivated some, such as agave. Agave became an important source of both food and fiber. Pits for roasting agave were common in the villages, and fields with rock borders were created nearby to divert rainfall runoff to specific plants. Domesticated crops such as corn, beans, and squash were also cultivated along the drainages. The water diversion systems used for these agricultural fields are still evident in some places today. Far-flung trade networks also existed. Shell ornaments obtained from the Gulf of California, copper bells that originated in Mexico, and turquoise from sources in northern Arizona and New Mexico are found in excavated village sites. Surely some of these prehistoric trade routes became modern travel corridors for horses, stagecoaches, and automobiles. After the mid-1400s, archaeological evidence for the Hohokam is lacking. Whatever changes took place in their cultural traditions have not been identified in the archaeological record. The succeeding centuries saw many changes. The Spanish conquistador Francisco de Coronado traveled through southern Arizona in 1540 in search of the 7 cities of gold and claimed the entire region for the Spanish Empire. Coronado introduced European plants unknown to the native inhabitants, such as fig and pomegranate trees, as well as horses, cows, and goats that have grazed the grasslands of southern Arizona ever since. Apache people who had migrated from northern Canada into Arizona and New Mexico in the centuries before European contact acquired horses from the Spanish explorers. Traveling on horseback gave them access to much larger territories for hunting and raiding non-Apache settlements. Some Apaches lived north of Tucson, and the Cañada del Oro became a well-known crossing point in their travels. To the south and west of the Spanish Presidio of Tucson, established in 1776, native people, known historically as Papago and today as Tohono O'odham, continued centuries of traditions in adapting to the arid landscape. Cultivating the 3 sisters crops of corn, beans, and squash was a mainstay of their economy. In 1821, Mexico gained title to the lands that had previously been controlled by Spain. And, not too long after that, in 1854, land south of the Gila River, including the Oro Valley area, became part of the United States of America through the Gadsden Purchase. Arizona became an official territory in 1863. It was into this territory that ranchers and homesteaders moved. They knew and had contact with the relatively few Apache and Tohono O'odham people who still lived in their traditional homelands. Most of the native peoples had been forced onto federal Indian reservations during the 1870s to make way for American settlement. The Apache Wars in southern Arizona did not end until after Geronimo's final surrender in 1886. Francisco Romero was one of the area's first cattle ranchers. He settled on a high ridge in what is now Catalina State Park and used the rock walls of the prehistoric Romero ruin to build his home. The best-known cattle rancher in Oro Valley is George Pusch. He and his partner John Zellweger established the PZ Ranch in about 1874. It soon became known as the Steam Pump Ranch because the men purchased a steam engine to provide a dependable supply of water from the well at the ranch headquarters. Cattle being transported for sale were watered here before being loaded on railroad cars, and travelers along the Oracle Highway found it a convenient stopping point north of Tucson. The Pusch family also used the ranch as a stopping point in trips from their home in downtown Tucson to the PZ Feldman Ranch they owned in the San Pedro Valley. Stories passed down by family members tell of Matilda Pusch's good relations with the Indians. She traded food staples such as flour, sugar, and coffee to those who came to the ranch. In exchange, she received baskets and blankets. Apache and Papago baskets and Navajo rugs obtained by Matilda still remain in the Pusch family. In addition to being a well-known cattleman and Tucson businessman, George Pusch was also involved in politics. He was a member of the Constitutional Convention in 1910 that led to Arizona's statehood in 1912. In the years after this, he suffered a series of strokes and died in 1921. Many of his documents and records have been donated to the Oro Valley Historical Society by his grandson. In 1933, a new era began at the ranch when Jack Proctor purchased the largely abandoned ranch from the Pusch estate. Proctor, with his family, had recently moved to Tucson to manage the downtown Pioneer Hotel. He built a new home on the property and used the ranch to raise chickens for the hotel restaurant. He also raised prize bulls and held community gatherings and parties at the ranch. After his death, ownership passed to his grandsons, and the ranch houses continued as a family residence. Other early 1900s ranches and homesteads in the Oro Valley area provided names for roads, commercial centers, and natural landmarks. Pusch Ridge and Pusch Peak were named after George Pusch before 1900, and the Pusch Ridge Wilderness, established by Congress in 1978, takes its name from these distinctive landmarks. Sutherland Wash and Romero Canyon take their names from early ranchers. The Rooney Ranch Shopping Center sits on the old Rooney Ranch. McGee, Hardy, and Overton, now modern roadways, were named after homesteaders before the late 1930s. Settlement along the Cañada del Oro increased after World War II. The population boom in Tucson made some folks desire to live in rural areas with more natural settings. In 1958, a portion of the former Cañada del Oro Ranch was transformed into the area's first golf course with an associated community of luxury homes called Oro Valley Estates. This neighborhood, along with development of the nearby subdivisions of Shadow Mountains Estates, Suffolk Hills, and Campo Bello, included residents who enjoyed the rural setting outside of Tucson. That rural lifestyle was threatened in 1968 when Tucson Mayor Jim Corbett announced that he intended to annex all the areas surrounding Tucson city limits. Citizens in what would become Oro Valley mounted a concerted effort to incorporate as a separate town. The process was complicated, contentious, and time-consuming, taking 6 years before the Arizona Supreme Court directed the Pima County Board of Supervisors to incorporate the tiny 2.5 square mile town of Oro Valley in April 1974. Jim Cree, a civil engineering professor at the University of Arizona, is credited with being the founder of Oro Valley. He held many meetings in his living room, and when the town was finally incorporated, he served as the town engineer in a volunteer capacity, overseeing road improvements and the development of the El Conquistador Resort along Oracle Road. The first town police officer and town staff also served in a volunteer capacity. That spirit of volunteerism continues today in Oro Valley. The young town of Oro Valley was established with the promise of no property taxes for residents. Oro Valley Country Club and the El Conquistador Resort provided most of the tax revenue to operate the town and maintain its minimal facilities. Until 1991, a former residence on Calle Concordia Avenue served as the town hall. In addition to forming a town, residents north of Tucson also pursued protection of open spaces. The Joseph McAdams family, who in 1940 built a home designed by renowned architect Josias Jostler, sold 4,000 acres of their property at the base of Pusch Ridge to Ratliff, Miller and Muir Investments Incorporated in 1970. Ratliff submitted a rezoning request to Pima County to develop the land as a planned community with golf courses and homes for 17,000 people. Local opposition to the proposal was strong, and Pima County put the project on hold. The Rancho Romero Coalition was formed, and support grew to create a state park for public use. In 1974, the Arizona legislature established Catalina State Park and authorized the state land department to obtain the land for it through exchanges. It would take almost another 10 years to obtain the property for the park through land exchanges and about 30 private land purchases and leases. The Ratliff property was traded to the state in exchange for another nearby parcel acquired by Ratliff that would later be developed as Rancho Vistoso. Catalina State Park, containing approximately 5,500 acres, finally opened in May 1983. It recently celebrated its 30th anniversary, a place where nature, water, and evidence of prehistoric and historic human use are protected for public enjoyment and education. In the period of the 80s and 90s, Oro Valley's population growth was significant. In order to support a community moving from rural to suburban, from a bedroom community to a self-sufficient community, Oro Valley needed to expand services. The town understood that sales tax revenue was going to Tucson, and an increase in local retail was vital. In addition, the town needed to provide increased recreational opportunities. Longer term, there was the need to provide local employment opportunities as well. All of these needs ran headlong into environmental concerns consistent with a bedroom community. Politically, the early 90s were turbulent. The growth engine was revved up and irreversible. Compromise with environmental preservation was accomplished, and an example during this period was Honeybee Canyon. Honeybee Canyon was a highly desirable hiking experience, but was also attractive to development. Hikers still enjoy the trail, and nearby homes enjoy the views. At the same time, the town purchased private property for recreation rather than residential development. The riverfront park with its ball fields and ramadas was proposed for apartments. Strong citizen involvement resulted in the space being purchased and rezoned for park or open space. A similar decision was made near Copper Creek Elementary School, where adjacent land proposed for residential use was purchased and preserved as open space. Controversy surrounded a proposal to build a library on the town hall campus. The expense was daunting and support uncertain. Without question, the Oro Valley Library has proven to be an essential and central educational and interactive community value. With the friction over the pace of growth, the town during this period demonstrated balance in the acquisition of park space, including the additional purchase of the Naranja town site. The town site was intended for some town facility expansion, but the citizens' support for more recreational amenities created a master plan, including a community center, performing arts facility, and dog park, passive as well as active recreation space. Subsequently, the cost of development consistent with the approved plan challenged citizens financially, and the bond issue was defeated. Oro Valley intends to add multi-use fields and a dog park, but the ultimate, final use remains of interest and debate. Another key to balance of growth and conservation during this period was the recognition of the town's most important historical property at Steam Pump Ranch. Although the owners wished to develop the property because of its location on Oracle Road and strong market demand for commercial use, the town utilized a county bond issue to raise the money to purchase the entire property. The town is faced with significant costs for restoration, and it is likely to be years before the ranch achieves its intended purpose as a cultural center for historic research as well as tourism and special events. Keeping the scales balanced is difficult. The town approved an ordinance declaring Oracle Road and Tangerine Road scenic corridors. This meant larger setbacks for development, maintaining vegetation and reduction of visual impacts. At the same time, the town created an industrial park, Innovation Park, core business being Ventana Roche. Subsequently, Sanofi and the Western National Park Association built within this ideal location, buffered by Oracle on the east and Big Wash on the west. Adjacent to Innovation Park is the Oro Valley Hospital with adjoining medical offices. Oro Valley has achieved what few towns its size have, a variety of housing styles in every social economic preference, very accessible park space, excellent schools, growing light industrial, and convenient quality retail. Reducing leakage, the loss of local retail sales taxes, remains an important objective. Providing a large, regionally attractive shopping center was an opportunity that couldn't be overlooked. Oro Valley has the ideal location at the foot of the Catalina Mountains, with Oracle Road on one side and Tangerine Road on the other. The space was troublesome for any developer, as a riparian area ran directly through the property. In addition, a well-established, medium-density residential area bordered the parcel at the rear. Not only was development controversial, but a development agreement offered by the town to the developer was contested by a referendum. Indicating a change in appreciation by the community for quality shopping, the referendum was defeated by a sizable margin. The Oro Valley Marketplace was finalized, not only protecting the riparian area, but including a water harvesting system unmatched in the area. Proceeding to maintain a quality lifestyle for all residents is exemplified by the mass transit system approved recently. SunTrans buses and vans circulate locally, provide a dial-a-ride service, and offer service to central points in Tucson. The town has spent millions to widen local roads to include multi-use paths, bike lanes, landscaped medians and right-of-ways, and deservedly is acknowledged as not only bicycle-friendly, one of the state's most playful towns, but importantly, one of Arizona's safest. Highlighting Oro Valley's quality of life is a very active local arts council. The Southern Arizona Arts and Cultural Alliance grew from a town advisory board into an independent 501c3, successfully managing excellent art and craft exhibits as well as symphonic, contemporary, and jazz concerts throughout the year. SACA also provides musical education in schools as well as Just for Kids performances each month at Town Hall. A notable visual art addition is the town's public art requirement. 1% of new construction cost is set aside for art publicly displayed at the site. Throughout the town, creative, unique art is prominently displayed as new development is completed. The Oro Valley Historical Society has spearheaded the restoration and promotion of Steam Pump Ranch in collaboration with the town's Historic Preservation Commission. Volunteerism is abundant in Oro Valley. The town remains committed to the hospitality industry. The Hilton El Conquistador has expanded its convention capacity significantly. Together with unequaled views, desert trails, camping, history, tennis, cycling, golfing, walking, and jogging, it's not surprising that Oro Valley offers visitors a comprehensive menu of relaxation and fun. Oro Valley completed a modernization of its public swimming facility and now attracts competitive events, as well as continuing to offer residents the use of our unique Championship Aquatic Center. The evolution of Oro Valley from the rural, ranching, and agrarian lifestyle to today's self-sufficient town is a history of aspirational and environmental respect. A quality of life consistent with the interconnectedness of business, personal, and family needs while retaining respect for our heritage. This could not have been accomplished without citizen participation. At each step in Oro Valley's maturing as a great place for citizens of every age, occupation, and interest, Oro Valley relied upon task forces, open houses, newsletters, or subcommittees to ensure citizen awareness and collaboration. Quality of living. It's in our nature.